What's going on, everybody? My name's GiraffeAnatomy, and this is going to be another quick god guide for Smite. Today, the god we are looking at is Chronos, Keeper of Time. The baby, the old man, and everything in between. What we're going to do is we're going to go over Chronos' abilities, his passive, review all of them, talk about how you can utilize them together, how you can combo them, and hopefully by the end of this video, you're able to understand what Chronos does, everything that is available to him in his toolkit, so you can take him into an arena, joust, / conquest, any type of game mode, and be able to use him effectively. We'll also talk a little bit about builds that you can do on him, some items that synergize with his kit very well, and things of that nature as well. So what we'll do, without any further ado, we will get into jungle practice here, and we are going to choose Chronos. Alright, so Chronos is a mage in Smite. He's considered a mage, so that means he has ranged basic attacks, and he does magical damage. So because of the way Chronos' kit is set up, and that he can do ranged basic attacks, and he has some attack speed built into his kit, he's actually a really good auto attacker mage. So what this means is Chronos can be played like a traditional mage, but he can also play like an ADC mage. So he's one of the few that can do it. There's a few gods in Smite that are mages that can also be flexed as like the hunter, right? As the role that traditionally a hunter would do. And so hunters are normally physical and ranged, and they do a lot of damage with their basic attacks, right? So Chronos is a mage that can do a lot of damage with his basic attacks, so you can build basic attack damage on him and attack speed and use his autos, which are these, right? His basic attacks here. Use his auto attacks to do the majority of your damage, right? So what we'll do first is we're going to level up all of his abilities. And we'll talk about building him as auto attack or building him as a standard traditional mage later on in the video. Right now, what I want to do, I just want to go over his abilities, his passive, everything first, and then we'll get more into the builds that you can do with him. But just understand, you can flex him into a few different types of roles. So Chronos is like a really fun god. Honestly, his kit is very unique. He has a lot of unique things about him. So I've seen him played as mid. I've seen him played as an ADC. I've even seen him played in solo before, right? So there's multiple things you could do with Chronos that make him really fun. So let's first off start talking about his passive here, right? His passive is called Time Lord. Chronos becomes empowered as time flows around him. Every 1.5 minutes, he gains a stack that increases his magical power. This stacks up to 25 times. Stacks are permanent, right? So basically, if you see here, I finally got my first stack because we're almost, I guess, 1.5 minutes in here, right? So 1.5, it says 1.5 minutes. So what is half of a minute? Minute 60 seconds, half a minute is 30. So every 1 minute and 30 seconds, you're going to get a stack, right? So at 1:30, I finally got my first stack here. And you will see this stack as time goes on. And when you see that, my magical power here, right? I don't have any items built. Should have 0. I don't have 0. I have 5. This is because I get 5 magical power per stack. So you'll see here, once we get up to like 3 minutes, you'll see the second stack come in here. So this is something that will stack up to 25 times. So by the end of the match, like basically with Chronos, as time goes on, he gets more powerful, right? He's basically getting free magical power built into his kit. That's his passive. So he is good late game. He is a late game god because as time goes on, he literally gets more powerful. If you times 5 by 25, that's 125, right? So you're basically going to get an extra 125 power by the end of the match, right? So just keep that in mind as you're playing him, that as time goes on, you're getting more and more power. And see, 3 minutes just got up here. I just got this second stack. Now I'm at 10 power, right? This is going to go on as the game goes on. So that is it. That's his passive. But it is really great because once you get past like 30 minutes in the game, you have a lot of power in there for you to utilize that you didn't have before, right? So make it to late game when you're Chronos. It's a good thing. let's get into his abilities, and we'll first talk about his first ability. I know you see this thing run around over here. That's his second ability. We'll talk about that in a sec, but let's talk about his first ability first, right? It's called Time Rift. Chronos creates a rift in time, damaging all enemies in the area. It's a very simple ability. It looks like this, right? It's a simple circle, and to hit somebody, you basically have to get them in the circle. So I'll show you here on a standing target, right? That's it. It does 192 damage with no items and everything like that. That's basically what it does. It's up pretty often, right? You saw it. It basically has like a 5-second cooldown on it without any cooldown built on Chronos. So it's up pretty often, and you can really do a lot of damage when you're autoing people. It's up often enough that you can kind of spam it over and over again to do damage. The thing is, it's just a little hard to hit it sometimes on moving targets because it takes that like half a second to sort of like happen, right? So you have to like lead your targets a little bit and understand they're gonna walk into the target. But luckily, your third ability helps you hit that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So not too much more to talk about on his first ability. Simple damaging target, right? You basically put it on the ground, charges for a little bit, and then it explodes, and it does the damage when it explodes, right? So let's talk about his second ability called Accelerate. Chronos accelerates himself over time, allowing him to move faster initially and gain speed over time. While active, his attack speed is increased. This ability also stops the Wheel of Time. So what is this Wheel of Time? Well, this is what this is, right? As you can see, there's 4 sections, and you can tell which section you're in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And when you press this ability, it will stop on one of those 4 symbols, right? And you can see what they are here. Section 1 is a heal. Basically, you heal 1.5% max health per second if you stop it on the 1. If you stop it in the second section, 100% mana refund on abilities. Section 3 is a plus 25% to your magical power. Section 4 is plus 35% magical power contribution to basic attacks, right? Your movement speed, you get a 20% increase initially, and then you get, depending on what level it is, starts at 12, goes to 20% over time. So really quick, I'm just going to stop it, and I'm going to stop it on this 1. So remember, you're trying to time your 2 with whatever section that you want, right? Because each one has its advantages. So if I try and stop it on 1 here, I'm going to wait for it to come around, and then I press 2. Now I have this 1. And for these seconds, right, you can see how long it is happening for. You get that buff, right? So that buff would be you heal 1.5 max health per second. So I'm just going to show you guys real quick. I'm going to take some damage so you can see. What up, Neith? What you got? All right. So get her to stop following me. Cool. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press my 1, and you can see plus 33, plus 32, plus 32, right? I'm getting healed over time. That's what happens when I stop the Wheel of Time, when I use my 2, and the 1 is there. Now, if I stop it in section 2 here, I get the mana refund on abilities. So if I use an ability, right, it doesn't matter. I get the refund for it. It's like you don't have to use mana for your abilities. So first of all, Chronos can sustain in lane by using the first section of this ability and the second section, right? You can basically stay in lane, pop your 1, heal up if you need to heal. If you need to clear the wave, you can pop your 2 and then use, like your 1 to clear wave or anything like that, or something like that, right? You can use your 1 to clear wave, and then the mana will be restored. Things like that. Let's talk about section 3 and 4 now. So section 3 is the bottom one here. I think these are 2 of the more useful ones that you will find. So early game, you basically use your 1 to heal in lane if you need to for sustain. Use your 2 if you want to cast an ability and not have to have mana be used. So by using these 2 early game, you can stay in lane sooner, you can farm better, all of those sorts of things, right? And remember, it lasts for 7 seconds after you press it. These back 2 here, this second half, section 3 and 4, are basically adding magical damage or basic attack damage for you, right? So if I stop it in section 3, you can see I got a magical power increase. It's 25% magical power, right? So it goes from 25 to 31 because I'm getting an extra 25%, right? And it lasts for that 7 seconds, and then it goes back. And then if I wanted to stop it here, I get basic attack damage, right? So you're basically getting plus 35% magical power contribution to basic attacks. So that goes up from 75 to the 80. What was it? I'll place it again. 84, right? And then this whole time that these are going on, remember, you get accelerate. So you get increased movement speed and attack speed. The attack speed is flat. Basically, as soon as you activate your 2, you're getting that additional attack speed no matter what. That is great. We'll talk about how that synergizes with some items here. And then the movement speed starts at 20%, and then it'll go up to an extra 20% over time. So you'll eventually get to 40% at the very end. So if I do this one more time and press the 3, cool. I got the magical power plus 25%. Cool. Now my speed is going up as time goes on. And then when the ability stops, the speed goes back to normal, right? 425. So there's a lot packed in to his second ability. It takes a while to get used to it. Go into jungle practice hitting it. But if you want to be safe, if you hit anywhere in the back end here, you should kind of be okay with Chronos because he autos a lot. Either of these is kind of cool. So I know it can be in the middle of the fight. You're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? But if you're doing this and you're kind of paying attention, okay, now I'm going to hit my basics. I get the attack speed and I get the movement speed to chase them down with it, right? So this is a great way to follow up when you're chasing a kill down, right? Getting that movement speed, being able to stay behind somebody and really chase them down while you're still autoing them is great. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to press this. I get the movement speed. I move faster as time goes on, right? And I'm able to auto them. And you can see I'm doing like 68 a basic. Now it's 54 because I stopped it on the basic attack additional damage one, right? If I do this again, you'll see I do this 54, 54, 54. I do it again when it's on the third section, 68 again. But this is time I'm getting that addition to my magical power, right? So there's magical power, and there's like basic attack power, right? So cool. A lot that was packed into this ability. There's 4 sections. If you press the 2 at the right time, you will stop it on the right section. Each section does a different thing. Healing, mana restoration on abilities, extra magical percent to your magical power, plus 25, and then the 4th section here is plus 35% magical power to basic attacks, right? So let's talk about his third ability. We're going to go over this, and then we'll talk about how all the abilities kind of can link in together, and you can like use them together, right? And as you've noticed, right, we're in 11 minutes in. I have 7 stacks. I have 35 power now, where I still haven't built a single item. I'm just gaining power as it goes on. That's his passive, right? So keep paying attention to that. Let's talk about his third ability. It's called Stop Time. Shooting forward, spinning gears of time. Any enemies hit by Chronos' attack have their attack speed reduced and ramped to a stun, taking damage on the initial hit and again when they're stunned. So the damage is applied twice. Same damage. It goes up to 130 once it's fully maxed, and then obviously the plus 15.75. That's just plus the magical power that you have. As you gain more, or as you build items, that will be more. So what you can do is, it's basically this line ability, and if you hit anybody with it, it does the initial damage, they slow, and then they get damaged again. So they're getting damaged twice during this ability. As you can see, it's like a ramp. It's like a very quick, like I think you hit them, and then within a second, they're stunned for another second, right? So if you hit them with this ability, you can see they get slowed and stunned. This makes hitting things like your 1 a lot easier, right? So when you're fighting somebody, you're basically going to try to start most of your engagements by hitting them with your 3. This is sort of your initiating ability, right? So you're going to hit them with your 3, and because they're slow, it makes hitting your 1 a lot easier because you know they're about to be stunned. So if you can predict it, you know you hit them, you can more easily aim your first ability. So using your 1 or your 3 and your 1, you can kind of combo them together. And this is really Chronos' main combo. You're sitting there, you're autoing, you're going to hit them with this. Once you hit them, okay, makes the hitting the 1 a little bit easier, right? You know you got them stunned, so you're able to do that. So use your 3. Once you hit them with the 3, then use it to hit them with the 1 once they are stunned, right? Right there. Boom, free damage, right? That's basically it. And then obviously if you want, you can try and combine your 2 with these sorts of abilities. I find it easier to hit my 2 right before I throw out these abilities. because then it more reliably, like, I can hit it when I need to, and I can kind of like sit there and go, okay, here we go. I'm aiming for magical power, hit them with the stun. Now do that. And this entire time I have the buff, right? So I'm able to get the maximum kind of damage off of it. Other people can hit it after they hit the stun, if you're good enough at it, right? But having it up right beforehand, I think is like the most effective way to do it, especially if you're new and starting out. But you can do something like this and do that and hit them with the one and try and hit it like as you're doing it, but it makes it a lot harder. I recommend trying to pop your 2 beforehand, right? So you're not getting confused, you're not overwhelmed, you're not like looking down in the corner and taking your eyes off the enemy to see what you're hitting. Look at it beforehand, right? And if you time it right, you should be able to kind of know like what you're on. So you'll be like, okay, here we go. Magical power. Let's hit that stun. Cool. Let's do this. Boom. And this entire time I have extra magical power. You can see I'm just overloading on damage. So that's kind of how you do it. Pop your 2 beforehand, get the effect that you want, then use your abilities, right? So let's talk about Chronos' ultimate. Let me just get some mana here, and we'll talk about it. So Chronos' ultimate is called Rewind. It's a really cool, unique ultimate. Chronos travels through time to where he was 8 seconds ago, gaining health and mana back to the values of that time. All of his cooldowns are instantly reset as well. So I think the best way to show this to you is to come in here. Gonna hit this on Neath. Do some damage to her. She's gonna do some damage to me, right? And what I'm gonna do is press rewind. I rewind to where I was 8 seconds ago. See how my health is higher and my mana isn't quite as high because it was after I used my abilities, right? But you can basically do this and get kind of like a restart, like a fresh start, refill your whole health bar if you get into a fight and get heavily damaged. I'm going to reset the cooldown here real quick. Oop. I'm going to go in here again. I'm going to get damaged even more. Actually, let's do this. 8 seconds is a long time for a bot to like try and do stuff to you. So we'll see how much damage she could do in 8 seconds, right? And I can run away and be like, oh no, I'm at like almost half health. Okay, I'm going to rewind now. Whoop. There we go. I go back to where I was 8 seconds ago. My health was a lot higher 8 seconds ago. So basically, you're able to refill that health bar if you time it correctly. Now, don't time it too late because you can rewind to back to when you had no health again still, right? So if you just got hit or you're getting hit by enemies, it's a really cool like get out of jail free card. A lot of times you can sort of use it to jump into a team fight recklessly in some cases, right? And still get out. So I think the best way to use this is you're in lane or something and you see a team fight happening like over a wall or something or in another lane. You run over to that lane, right? You run in and you just go all out. You throw your 3, your 2, you pop this, you just do as much damage. And okay, now they're all going on you. Well, guess what? I'm out of here, man. Like, goodbye. And then you just, all the damage you just took, gone. It gets redone. You kind of get back to where, like, right before you got out of the fight, so you kind of move away a little bit, and you're able to escape that team fight. Because Chronos doesn't have a built-in escape method, right? It's literally just like his movement speed comes with his 2. You could not use your 2 if you're going to run into the fight and save it for when you need to escape afterwards. So like I said, if you come in here and you charge in recklessly to a team fight, you can do this, throw this on them, do that, and now do this. And now you're still in your 2 a little bit. You're at your max like movement speed. You're able to like run away as fast as possible. So it's a really cool ability where you can come in, try and unload like your 3 and your 1, and then back out if you need to, right? So yeah, one more time real quick. I'll show you guys. Use the 3. Use the 1. I'm actually going to save this. Oh, I can't rewind because I didn't reset my cooldowns. But I would rewind, and then once I got out of the rewind, use my accelerate to GTFO, as they say. Get the fuck out of there. So, so yeah, that's your only movement speed ability. So save your 2 if you think you're going to need to escape from something. It's really the only thing you can do. Accelerate, get out there, use your movement speed, and run away, and try and use it for an escape. Right? Doesn't matter what you pick here. You're really using it just for the movement speed, right? To get away from things a lot of the times. So yeah, that is basically Chronos's kit, right? there really isn't too much to it. The most complex thing is this too. Just realize where you stop it is what kind of buff you're going to get. Like I said, if you stop it on this back half, you're pretty good with Chronos in general. Just make sure if you do this, you want to be basic attacking, right? But the magical power is the one you're going to want to do more often than not, because it still adds to his basics, right? But this is also very good if you're building like an auto attack damage, and you can't really go wrong if you hit either of them. You're going to increase both of these and be able to do some damage, extra damage with them, right? So now that we've talked about this, let's talk a little bit about how you can build Chronos, right? So Chronos utilizes the rings, like the magical rings, very well because of the way he builds. Starting off, getting something like Death's Toll is fine on him just because it'll give you some sustain in addition to his 1 and his 2 of his 2, right? Getting something like this is really good. And then late game, getting like Death's Temper, it'll just give him that extra attack speed. Because he likes to pepper in, like rings will give you attack speed, but he likes to pepper in some other items that don't have attack speed on it. So getting Death's Toll and then getting this 30% attack speed here at the end, it's really nice for him. Other things you can do, like if you want to get something like Conduit Gem or Sense of Time, like that's fine as well. They both work pretty decently on him. If you're going to do basic attacks and you want to get something like Mannequin Scepter, not bad either, going Mannequin Scepter, and then you can do something like Mannequin Mace and just do a ton of basic attack damage with him. Any of that would be okay. Applying like those burns to people really helps you early game. It also lets you farm jungle camps pretty fast. Applying this to the jungle camps so you can clear, you can farm super effectively with this. So I would recommend any of these as starter items for him. Either Death's Toll, either of these two starters is okay, but I would recommend Death's Toll or Mannequin Scepter first if you're doing the ADC build, right? This is if you're building attack speed. So you can start with either of these. Like I said, I like this one just because it gives you a little bit of extra attack speed at the end. And then normally you're going to go into Ring of Hecate first. That is what most magical ADCs build first, because this will give you the sustain in lane, right? What Ring of Hecate does is it gives you attack speed, and it gives you 15% magical lifesteal. And each successful basic attack applies a hex to the enemy and empowers you. So you're going to start winning these like 1v1s. And then if you have something like Mannequin Scepter in this, you do really, really well. It's a really good power spike early for you to have Mannequin Scepter plus Ring of Hecate, and you're 1v1ing in lane when the supports have left already. This will win you a lot of 1v1s, give you pressure in the lane by yourself. Then you can go farm and do jungle camps and just start eating up all that XP and all that gold and getting really, really far ahead as soon as possible. Once you've built this, you can decide one of two things. With the way Chronos is built, you can build more attack speed with Telkine's Ring or Bancroft's Talon. Just got the update, which is the Nimble Bancroft's Talon, right? So this actually starts gelling really well with a Ring of Hecate because you gain additional magical power and lifesteal to the missing health, like the Bancroft's passive is, right? But then look at the glyph for it, for Nimble, right? So you'd build this, and you would upgrade to the glyph, which is for every 40 magical power you have, you gain 2% attack speed. So getting something like this, it already has a stack of 7 here, right? And then you're going to be getting more magical power just from your passive, right? And then as you build more attack speed, right? So both of these, this is a very healing, right? Someone's going to build anti-heal against you if they see these items, which is fine. Because on the back end, you're basically going to do something like Telkine's Ring. You're going to need penetration at this point. The only downside to getting this and this early is you don't have pen yet. So you either get Telkine's Ring here, or you get the Demonic Grip, or you get some other sort of penetration item. In this third slot, you want pen by this point, or you're not going to be able to start taking down the Guardian or the Solo that have built, by this point in the game, built some protections, right? And then your last two items, I would normally recommend something like the Telkine Ring and the Rada Tahuti, or the Rada Tahuti and the Telkine's Ring, right? If you want to do Rada Tahuti here, that's fine. You can do that. And then if you want, you can save Bancroft's Talon. If you don't want to go super heal early and you kind of want to like hide that, you can do this. You can get you can, right after these two items, I would go into Telkine's and then your Demonic Grip, right? Because you still need pen by this point. Telkine's is just so good. Right after Ring of Hecate, it 90 magical power plus more attack speed, right? You're already at 2 like basic attack speed, right? And your basic attack deal bonus damage. So after this, just having like these items, you're going to be attacking really fast and doing a lot of basic attack damage. And if you hit your 2 and you hit it on the 4th section of it, you're going to be doing a lot of damage and a lot of damage fast, right? And so at this point, this is when you're going to be able to do something like Ratatouille, right? And then this will give you 10% magical pen plus the demonic grip magical penetration, where you're getting the reducing their magical protections by 10% for 3 seconds, maximum of 3 stacks. So you're using your autos to get rid of it, plus Ratatouille. Plus Ratatouille's passive works really well. Basic attacks and abilities gain 25% additional magical power against targets below 50% health. So once you get somebody at half health, you start chunking them even more, right? And you can see how the numbers went up there. That's demonic grip working, right? It's getting rid of those passives. And then at this point, at the tail end, you can get the Bancroft's Talon. And then you can upgrade it to the Nimble. So now I have a stack of 14 here, right? So you can see, and if I hit this properly, right, with the attack speed, you're way over capped. You're doing a lot of damage. You're at 20 for Nimble Bancroft's Talon, right? You're just going to town on these people. So yeah, you're capping out at that 2.5 attack speed when you hit your 2 with a build like this, right? So at this point, you can either, if you didn't get Bancroft's Talon or something like this, I'll show you another build in a second here. But if you do this, if you do the Death's Temper, you're going to definitely be over capping on attack speed for sure, right? You're already at 2.5, and that's without you using your passive. So you could do something like Death's Embrace and just heal a ton. They will build anti-heal on you, like without a doubt. There's no way they don't if they see Hecate, Bancroft's Talon, Death's Embrace, right? Something like that. If you had Mannequin Scepter at this point, with the Bancroft's Talon, right, you're going to using this, you're going to get to that 2.5 no matter what. You'll be fine, and you just heal so much, right? So this is a type of build that you can do on him. This is just giving you additional like magical power, lifesteal. If you don't do this, you can do a Typhon's. If you still want to heal some, get more penetration, right? You can do a Typhon's Fang instead of the Bancroft's like Nimble Talon. And if you're doing this, you can then upgrade to the Death's Temper, right? And get that 30% attack speed another way. Typhon's just gives you that extra lifesteal because you have Hecate, right? So this synergizes with this. And then you can upgrade your rod, right? You can basically do like perfected rod of Tahuti if you want. This also might work if like in conjunction with your 3. But I would go like the nimble rod, or the perfected rod, sorry. So you're basically getting like, successfully damaging an enemy god when the ability applies the mark for 3 seconds. Damaging a second time, consumes the mark, provides you with 10% movement speed for 2 seconds, and reduces your ultimate abilities. You can basically like spam your 3 and your 1 on people with something like that. And you just really like kick the crap out of people with a build like this, right? A lot of penetration, a lot of attack speed. I'm just pressing my 2 for the attack speed, right? And I'm still doing just like so much damage. And you're healing a ton with a build like this, right? It's not like you're not healing. So yeah. That is basically it. You're already at 660 power with this, and you're still not stacked at your 25 stacks of Time Lord, right? With a build like this. So yeah, anything like this is perfectly fine on him. Like I said, you could get the Nimble or something like that on him as well. But I think either Death's Toll or Mannequin, right? If you want to take a look at this with Mannequin Scepter, you would basically sell this, get Mannequin Scepter, and I think Hidden Blade isn't as good on him. I like the Mannequin Mace for getting the plus 50 basic attack damage, because you're doing like the auto attack build, right? And if you're doing something like this, like I said, this is when you can get Bancroft's Talon instead and upgrade it. If you don't have this upgraded, upgrade to the Nimble, and you will still be able to reach that 2.5, right, with a build like this. But you're doing the extra burn damage, you're doing the basic attack damage, with something like this. And if you hit his 4 on his 2, so I'll show you in a second here. Once this rolls around, if you hit the 4th section of it, right, you're hitting like what was that, 420 something after demonic grip procs, right? It's really good. You're doing a ton of damage with your basic attacks at this point, and that's without like stunning them, right? So you come in, press your 2, 3, hit them with that, do your 1, they just get deleted, right? And you get stronger as the game goes on. So you can do builds like this on him. If you want, you can do a more traditional mage build if you'd like on him. If you do that, I still would pepper in maybe like a Ring of Hecate to start, but you could do something more traditional like Conduit Gem on him would be good. And then you do probably want, like if you need to do it, anti-heal of some sort like a Divine Rune, but starting off with something like this is okay. Then you can, if you need the anti-heal, right, go into the Divine Ruin. You'll be able to proc this pretty easily with your abilities. If you can skip out on it, like if other people on your team are getting anti-heal, do, because it's kind of like a meh item right now. But if you need that anti-heal, you can do something like this. I would still recommend something like Bancrofts or Typhons at this point to sort of go with these, but you do need like your penetration, right? So at this point, if you want penetration items, things like Ob Shard wouldn't be bad. You could get some more flat pen and some cooldown with like Spear of Desolation or something like that, or like a Rada Tahuti, trying to get it in here in the middle, because you start needing right around this point the penetration, right? You need to start getting that magical penetration on him. And then yeah, and I would recommend probably if you don't do Rada Tahuti, it's gonna be like a Chiron's coin or something at this point, and like maybe like a Doom Orb, right? So if you get the 20% pen here with Chiron's coin, and you kind of couple that with his movement speed and the movement speed of this, and then like a Doom Orb and a Rada Tahuti, right? You have a lot of pen. You have 30% with these 2 items. Doom Orb gives you a lot of power. You still have the anti-heal. You still have like a little bit of healing and stuff like that with this. So this wouldn't be like a bad build on him. You don't attack as fast with something like this, right? But you can still do a lot of damage, right? You're basically trying to delete them with your abilities now. The build like this, right? You're trying to 3 them, then 1 them, and hit a couple basic attacks here. So I'll show you what that looks like here. So I'm going to do this, hit it with that. Look, like she gets deleted if you hit your abilities, right? With a build like this. And you're going to get the Chiron coin stacks, right? So once you get it stacked and you see tails, permanent stacks providing movement speed. All right, so now I have more permanent movement speed. And if I hit my 2, I'm able to just like zoom, and it's really hard for people to catch you, right? So look how fast I am. I'm at like 619 movement speed. That's without going into the fountain, right? So yeah, that's because of like some Chiron coin stacks and the Doom Orb stacks, right? You basically press this, 533, 549, 555, 566, 580, 610, like 610 towards the end of that. Not bad. Not bad for that. And then Conduit Gem, obviously, if you want to zoom even more, Gem of Focus. You can get that every time you cast an ability that costs mana, you get a stack of focus for 10 seconds, providing 3% movement speed, 3% damage increase. You know, like this will make you like really hard to catch. That's why I'm saying like Chronos just has some really, really fun builds that you guys can do on him. So you could go attack speed. You know, you could do like power like this, where you still get a little bit on here, and you just do this, throw this. It doesn't even matter, you know, what you're doing. Like I'm at 608, 619, 634, right? 634 at the end of that one. You kind of just like, you're really, really fast, right? You're able to do a lot of damage to these guys. Your autos still hit pretty hard, right? But your main damaging ability is hit your 3, hit your 1, boom, that 800 damage on your freaking 1. Like that's crazy, right? So just, yeah. That's about it. These are probably the builds I would recommend. And like I said, you can swap Divine Rune out for something if they didn't have like a ton of healing, or if everyone else on your team has anti-heal. Although you can apply the anti-heal really easily with your kit. Like normally it's good for the mage to have it because you can apply it very well. If for some reason they don't have a heal comp, you're not worried about healing, and you want to get like move Divine Ruin, you can get something like the Typhon's Fang here, right? With Typhon's Fang here, you're gonna have a full 40% pen or something like that, right? Or you can get Chiron's Coin earlier. So as soon as you go Hecate, you go straight into Chiron's Coin, then do more. Then you would get the probably like the Typhon's Fang or the Rod or something like that towards the end here. You can move Rod up too if you want more of the pen earlier, right, and then do more at the end. But it's nice to get the stacks and everything like that on these guys. So yeah, I think it helps with like the movement. So building like do more Chiron's Coin is very good with him. Boom. And either way, you're at, you know, we're at 22 stacks of Time Lord, giving you that extra 100 some power. You're 755. But if I press this, if I press my 2 at the right time, 25% magical power, I'm at 944 magical power. It's pretty crazy, right? So yeah, you are chunking. You're doing the damage, right? With Chronos. Either way. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know these are long-winded, and it says quick god guide, but I like to just explain as much as I can, so you guys can learn the gods and kind of learn what to build them and how to play their kit and how to utilize them and stuff. If you guys have any things that you think I missed or would like to share builds on Chronos, do it down in the comments below. If there's anything you'd like to add or anything you'd like to see me cover, put that in the comments too. I'd be happy to cover anything else. If you have like certain questions or gods or whatever, like I can make a video about it for sure for you. And then yeah, if you haven't already, join our Discord down in the description below. We play Smite together. It's a great community. It's called the Smite Dojo. We're all there to like learn, get better at Smite, play games. We do memes, we do learning sessions, we do all kinds of stuff, and we'll play with you. It doesn't matter what your skill level is. Come join us, hang out, meet like-minded and like-skilled people, right? Like there's a lot of new players that all join together and they're all learning together and they'll play together. So they have like even matches. They have teammates where they're all sort of together doing the same thing. So it's really great because no one's going to flame you for missing an ability or something because you're all in the same boat, right? You're learning, and we understand Smite's hard to learn and pick up, and I think the best way to get good at it is just to play more of it and enjoy that time, right? So having friends, partying up, being able to do all that stuff with people makes it way, way, way easier. So join the Discord below. You can at me, at a mentor, at Smite and LFG, and just party up with some people. And then also, if you can, subscribe to this channel because I will be coming out with a video for every single god. I will be doing a guide on them, doing the same thing I just did with Chronos. So stay tuned for that. Thanks guys for watching. I really appreciate it. And hey, have a great day.